Disclaimer: this video is AI generated for infotainment only. Data sourced from the internet. AI may hallucinate. Verify all facts independently.
On a single Saturday, one event in India settled more than 3 crore cases. More than 30 million disputes closed in a day. It ran in every corner of the country at once across 37 states and union territories, and it cleared disputes worth around 18,000 crore rupees. There was no court fee. There was no appeal. Strangely, there were no losers. Nobody walked out defeated. It is the largest single day of justice anywhere on earth. It is not a court in any way you would recognize. So what is this parallel machine and why does it work? Exactly where the regular courts drown. Chapter 38. Lok Adalats and the other courts built for access. India's regular courts are drowning. Tens of millions of cases, years of waiting, costs most people cannot bear. So the country built a second machine beside them. Not to replace the courts but to drain them. Its heart is the Lok Adalat, which simply means the people's court. It is an old Indian idea rooted in the principle that justice should not belong only to those who can afford it. That principle is written into the Constitution. Article 39, it promises equal justice and free legal aid for the poor and the weak. The Lok Adalat is how that promise is delivered, one wing of what's called alternative dispute resolution, a way to settle quarrels outside the long, expensive grind of a trial. For a long time it had no legal teeth. The first modern camp was held in Gujarat in 1982 and it worked so well the idea spread across the country, settling disputes purely by goodwill. But goodwill alone couldn't make a settlement stick. So in 1987, Parliament gave the People's Court real legal force through the Legal Services Authorities Act. From that point, its decisions carried the weight of law. It built a structure to run it, a pyramid, 4 levels deep. At the very top sits the National Legal Services Authority, NALSA, which lays down the policy. Below it, an authority in every state. Below that, one in every district. At the base, committees right down at the taluk level where ordinary people actually live. Together, that network organizes the Lok Adalats and provides free legal help to those who qualify. So here's what we'll settle in the next few minutes. What this People's Court actually is, how it works and why its verdict can never be appealed. The permanent version built for the services you use every day. The other courts designed to reach the citizen, including one meant to drive right up to the village. Start with the strangest part, a court that does not decide who is right. Part 2. Here is what makes the Lok Adalat unlike any court, you know. A normal court decides, it declares a winner and a loser. The People's Court does something else entirely. It does not decide, it settles. Its whole job is to bring two sides to a compromise, both of them agreeing by negotiation and plain common sense. The Supreme Court once described it perfectly in a Lok Adalat: there are no victors and no vanquished. No bitterness, just a dispute resolved. Lok Adalat is usually a small bench, a serving or retired judge in the chair, with a lawyer and a social worker beside them. It reaches in two directions at once. It can take a case already pending in a court. It can take a dispute that has not yet reached a court at all, settling it before the lawsuit is ever filed. Any civil case can come to it. So can criminal cases, but only the compoundable ones. The lighter offenses the law allows the parties to settle between themselves. There is one hard limit. The serious crimes, the offenses that are non-compoundable, that the state itself must prosecute, those can never be settled here. The People's Court is for disputes, not for grave wrongs. Now the part that sounds almost impossible. When a Lok Adalat reaches a settlement, it passes what's called an award. That award is not a friendly suggestion. In the eyes of the law, it is treated as a decree of a civil court, fully enforceable, exactly like a judgment delivered after a full trial. It is final. It is binding on every party to the dispute. No appeal lies against it, not to any court anywhere. There is no second round. How can a verdict with no appeal possibly be fair? Because it was never imposed. Both sides agreed to it. You cannot appeal against the settlement you yourself chose. That single fact, voluntary therefore final, is the whole genius of the design. It is almost free. There is no court fee to bring a matter here. If you had already paid a fee in the regular court, that money is refunded to you when the dispute settles. But an ordinary Lok Adalat has a weakness. If the two sides simply refuse to agree, it cannot force a result. The dispute just walks away unresolved. For most quarrels, that's fine. For the services you cannot live without, it isn't. So in 2002, the law created a tougher version, the permanent Lok Adalat. It was built for one specific world: public utility services, the buses and the trains, the post and the telephone, power, light and water, hospitals, sanitation, insurance, the systems an entire population depends on. It handles disputes up to a money limit, a ceiling that began at 10 lakh rupees and was raised in 2015 all the way up to 1 crore. Here is its real power, the twist that sets it apart. If the two sides genuinely cannot agree, the permanent Lok Adalat does not give up and send them away. It can go ahead and decide the dispute itself on its merits. It still settles first. But if settlement fails, it can rule. So that's the machine for disputes: fast, free and final. But the same idea, courts built to reach the ordinary person, took two more forms. One for the family. One meant to drive all the way to the village. Part 3. Think about the worst place to fight a cold technical legal battle. Marriage breaking down. Child's custody. A quarrel between people who once shared a life. The ordinary courts treated these like any other lawsuit, two opponents, rigid rules, an adversary on each side. It made painful things worse. So in 1984, a separate court was built just for them, the family court, around a different instinct entirely. Settle before you fight. The states set them up, working with the high courts. The law makes them compulsory in every city above 1 million people. It hears the most intimate disputes in the law: divorce and judicial separation, the validity of a marriage, the custody of a child, and the maintenance of a wife, of children, of parents. It works in a gentler way. Its first duty is not to judge, it is to attempt a reconciliation between the two sides. The procedure is informal. The rigid rules of evidence are loosened. Counselors and social workers are brought in to help. There is even a striking rule about lawyers. Here, the parties have no automatic right to one at all, to keep it human and direct rather than a contest of advocates. Against its decision, the law allows just one appeal, straight to the High Court. But the boldest idea came in 2008. For most of rural India, a court is far away, a journey, a cost, a day lost. So the law asked a daring question. What if the court came to you? That is the Gram Nyayalaya, the village court. It ranks as a court of a first-class judicial magistrate run by an officer called a Nyayadikari. Its defining feature is motion. It is a mobile court. Its seat sits at the intermediate Panchayat headquarters, but it travels out into the villages to hold hearings where people actually live. It handles both civil and criminal matters by a quick summary procedure. It reconciles the two sides first. It isn't bound by the strict rules of evidence, it follows the plainer principles of natural justice. Justice, quite literally, at the doorstep. It is a beautiful idea. It remains mostly an idea. Because the law left one word out, it never made the village court compulsory. Setting one up was left to each state's choice. So the rollout fell far short of the promise. Many states leaned instead on regular courts at the taluk level. Officials were reluctant to use the new courts. Lawyers gave a lukewarm response, the machinery just wasn't there. Sanctioned in the hundreds and delivered in far fewer. A law on paper is not yet justice on the ground. Yet, return to where we began. Whatever the gaps, this parallel machine moves at a scale the regular courts cannot dream of. A single national sitting in 2024 cleared over 1 crore cases in a day. The very next year, that figure more than tripled, past 3 crore in one Saturday. Across all of 2025, these people's courts resolved close to 15 crore disputes. Free and final. by agreement at a scale measured in crores. So remember the shape of it: people's court that settles instead of deciding, no fee and no appeal because the verdict was chosen, not imposed. A permanent version for the services you can't live without, that can rule even when the two sides won't agree. A family of courts built to reach the citizen, for the home and for the village. We've spent 5 chapters climbing through India's courts. The village court took us right to the edge of the village. Next, we cross it and leave the judiciary behind for the place where Indians govern themselves. From justice delivered to the people to power held by them. Chapter 39, Panchayati Raj.